Right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in. I apologize for the sound. There kind of is a bit of a storm outside, even though it doesn't look like it. But I'm going to wait for a few of you guys to come in here, and we're going to get into a very special show today. Trust me, this show will change your life. Welcome into Instructions for Humanity, Sphere of Consciousness, and I have a wonderful friend here with me, a client, and we're going to talk about how his past life regression changed his life and how it actually changed your life too. And we're all connected, and this is what we're going to find out in today's show today. I'll wait for a few of you guys to come in. When you come in, guys, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and like the video. Please allow me to introduce myself. My name's Tahira, Mother of the Ages. I'm a supernatural quantum healer. I specialize in quantum telepathic healing modalities, psychic investigator, and my favorite, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist by trade. I specialize in spiritual hypnotherapy, past life regression, which I find is the deepest, most therapeutic way to really go to the event, find the infliction, and to heal on a soul level, on a cellular level, on a Akashic level, and a DNA level. And that is exactly what my client here has done. And he's more than a client, he's actually a really good friend now. So I'm gonna introduce him, and then he's just gonna tell you his story, and we're gonna loosen up. We're not gonna make this so serious today. Welcome, Austin. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, everybody.
Awesome. So this is Austin, and I'm really bad with dates. I will allow him to give the dates and when he first came in for a client session, and then he went through my Ascension program, and we spent about 6 weeks together in some very, very deep, therapeutic hypnosis. And I was actually surprised on the lifetimes that this man has lived and how he's going to tell you about one or two of those lifetimes today, and how actually it has a lot to do with what is happening in the world and what is happening in our financial sector as well. So thank you all for being here today. And Austin, take it away. Welcome into Instructions for Humanity. How are you feeling today?
I'm doing great. So I guess where I would start is basically I had noticed that Tahira was coming up with a lot of different like prophecies and channeling a lot of events while watching her show in regards to like XRP and like Shiba Inu and I believe Luna Classic was another one among XLM. From there, I was getting similar dreams, and I would also say along with dreams would be what Tahira would call codes. So with that said, I was among that. I contacted her in regards to doing some past life regression, and I was familiar with past life regression as far as being a healing modality in and of itself through a physician that I follow, Dr. Diedrich Klinghardt. He talks about the 5 levels of healing, and among the 5 levels of healing, he would talk about where above the physical plane of reality that you have the spiritual, you have the mental body, intuitive body, and then you have the spiritual body. And within those levels of healing, he would talk about past lives being a non-physical influence within a person's life, that pops up and creates a stress, via epigenetics. So with that said, I was pretty excited to actually find somebody who was able to offer this service, and and then that's how that got started. So when I contacted her, I signed up for it, and when we went through the past lives, we had found some pretty interesting stuff that was, a reason why I was getting some of these, dreams about XRP and, among different cryptos. Another thing I had found was a reason why I had such an interest in natural medicine and healing modalities and that, from a past life. And then where it benefited me was showing where, the specific things in my life, which one was there was a lot of guilt, and I'll explain where the guilt came from within the past life that was showing up in today's, in my life today. With that, I was able to, and I'm still kind of working on it, but I was able to go in and get some relief by, first of all, knowing what the issue is, which was guilt. And from there, I was able to go in and cancel out the emotions that's attached to the event, which brought me some relief and brought me, healing and allowed me to, and freed me, give me a little bit more freedom in my life. So that was a huge benefit to that. So
thank you. Let me interject here really quickly. Let's go ahead and talk about that first past life regression, because I think that one really set the stage for a lot of your healing and the source codes. Like, it's not just me that gets the source codes. Like, we all have access to the source codes. You just have to know how to source them, how to spot them. So take us through that first past life regression that, really brings us into this year of 2025 with everything happening in stocks and crypto.
So during this past life regression, it came within my conscious when I was under hypnosis that I was this guy named Alex, and Alex was a stockbroker back during the times when there was during the times of the Great Depression, where there was a major, stock market crash, etc. Well, Alex lost $4 million of his clients' money, and among that, during that hypnosis, I could feel the guilt, that was among that situation that had occurred. From that, I had left. It was obviously took place in New York. I had left and went down to Mobile, Alabama. So, that's basically what came up in the past life. From that, as far as where the guilt goes, I have a hard time, within my life today where I feel like I owe people, and which has been a huge burden, because of that, what I found to be that past life in and of itself. And therefore, it's turned me into a, what many people would call like a people pleaser, and where, you overgive and underreceive, in many circumstances of life, instances of life, or whatever you would say. So with that, that's a cycle that's, very difficult to break, because you will build many relationships upon that. So, I would say that it's more now that I have awareness of that specifically. I would say that, yes, I was able to go back and, cancel out the emotions basically, I would say go back and detach the emotions away from the event and get freedom in that aspect. However, I got to deal with the physical aspect of boundaries at this point. So that's what I'm working on today with that. So
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I just remember, to be honest with you, like Austin, that really shocked me in that session simply because I'd never really seen someone have this outpouring of emotions. It felt like I was on this journey with you, that I was there and I could feel how you felt with losing the, $4 million of your client's money, and the burden and the weight. And how did that feel? Did you have a physical reaction in any part of your body, or was just kind of the memories of it that were haunting?
It was I didn't have I didn't it wasn't the memories that I saw, it was the emotion of it. And then it was an awareness of what had occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd get a little glimpse of some of it, but it wasn't like real clear. It was just like a, kind of an awareness of what's going on, and then you would get like a glimpse, like I saw, you know basically I saw like a chart of where it was, a chart that was crashing. I saw, that, and I could feel it. And then I saw you know, uh, I had an awareness that it was $4 million that I lost in my client's money, and then I had the awareness that I was a stockbroker, and I could feel, uh, myself inside, like a room where, I would say where stocks are trading, where I was
Mm-hmm.
on the phone and that kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
whether it be on Wall Street or wherever it's at that point. So, but yeah, that's what I saw. Um, Another thing too that was always, when I was a kid, I had this unusual, obsession of Warren Buffett in regards to like his investing style and that kind of thing. So I was always like reading Warren Buffett books. I could, knew a lot about him at an unusual young age. I don't even really like the guy today, but it was just, and the reason why I believe now that I had that obsession was because he was able to do so well in the stock market, beat the stock market like he did. And so, and then there was another time where I was in school and it was like a paper stock trading, and during in class, and I did unusually well, compared to my other classmates. I think there was one other guy that I was tied with, and everybody else is way below us in that. So I kind of had a natural knack in that, so that's kind of where, and have an interest in it, and yeah, so that's where we're at today with
And I
that.
think I think you told me you saw something that the crash never had to happen, had people just had a little bit more patience. Want to talk about that for a moment?
That is correct. Well, so the crash, what people were doing back then was they were taking out, they were leveraging their investments in stocks.
Mm-hmm.
They were, going out, taking out, loans, and to to put money into the market. And then I believe, what had happened was there was a specific banker that was going in, and he was pushing stocks onto the general public, that had absolutely
Mm-hmm.
zero knowledge of what was going, of trading or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, there were, I believe it was Joe Kennedy had mentioned, back in the day there, that he knew to get out as soon as he started, as soon as his shoe shiner started giving him advice on stocks, he knew it was time to get out. So, but like any market, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. But if people would have just, rather than panic, you know, and they would have gained it all back, you know, eventually. So that's, you know, and that's where like Warren Buffett's investing style would be to, you know, he has since changed it. You know, before it was to find, you know, great deals, but now it's to find great businesses at a fair price. So
Awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, how, you know, how has this past life changed you in this life? How has that past life changed you in this life?
So the past life has specifically changed me in regards to where this constant feeling of guilt that, you know, I had, you know, felt my whole life, you know, where I feel like I, you know, I feel like I owe people, and where, you know, I was able to see the pattern where it started. I was able to go in and detach emotionally from the event. And then any other event that holds strong, you know, from this lifetime, able to detach from that. Where it's a little bit more challenging at this moment, I would say, is going in and setting boundaries that have already been established, you know, because obviously
Right.
that's going to be, you know, change the situations of life in, you know, in relationships, etc. So
But I want to, you know, as like not have, you know, me, because I've worked with you and I talk about this
yeah,
stuff all the time. I think that's where we are. I think that this very powerful year of the 9 has showed us, like, you know, everything that our souls kind of been struggling with or needing a little bit more work on, or more, or where more subconscious work is needed.
true.
So when you say that, that tells me that this is exactly where your soul is to go to next. So you release, you saw the event, you release,
Mhm.
right? The need to feel the way
Right,
you felt. But now it's
right,
about standing in that sovereignty, and you have the authority to redirect things no matter what prior engagement, prior contract, prior agreement. And I think that that will allow it to come full circle. Obviously, it's a process, right? But
right.
it's beautiful to see the progression. And I think that what past life regression allows us to do, it allows us to take a look at the totality of our soul's journey and say, okay, I've worked on that. I've healed from the event. I've forgiven all parties involved. Now it's time for me to sit back in the driver's seat. And so what it does is it gives you a way to almost, not to say you can redo the timeline, but you're learning from that past version of self,
Mhm.
where you could make this timeline that you're in the best that it could be.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I
so
would
that's
agree.
just,
Yeah.
that's what I love about it. Okay, so guys, I'm going to ask you, put some questions down in the chat. If you have any questions, put that down there, and we will get to those later. But now let's loosen up a little bit, because you know we're not just, you know, we, you know, me and Austin really, his sessions really changed me. And maybe you don't know this, Austin, so I'll just take a time to
Okay.
say this. Your sessions really changed me because I saw someone come in that was, you know, some people, they're trying to put up a wall or facade. There wasn't any of that. You just came in with a pure heart and essence. And it was really beautiful to see, because a lot of the times you'll have to spend 2-3 sessions chipping away at the client's, you know, open your heart, open, expand this, expand that, let me in so I can
Mhm.
help you. But I think you just came in and with a pure heart. So I will say this about you: your heart is so pure and so genuine. And I think that this is why you were able to get a lot out of the past life, because, you know, there wasn't any of those blockages, you know, in the heart,
Oh, thank
right?
you. Yeah.
Maybe it might have been a little too open, right?
Right.
But but I really, really enjoyed, you know, that journey. And this is what I really love about this work, being a quantum healer, is that I'm on the journey with you guys. And as you're learning about your soul, you are mirroring, you allow me to see a mirror, and excuse me. And so what it helps me to do is look within my own life and see, have I come across this situation before? And then I don't have to go through it because I'm learning vicariously through you all. And your soul allowed me to do that. And in fact, I don't know if this came up in the past life regression, but the time where you were the medical doctor, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So it was another session where it came up where I was a physician, and there was this old lady that was like, looked a little, she was real skinny, looked malnourished. Are you there still?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I think
No,
I need some water. Go ahead.
okay. So anyway, she was, what I had saw was an old lady who was, the guy's name was John, and this patient of his was an old lady who looked malnourished, and she was, like extremely thankful, and and thankful for the fact of the healing, some of the healing that I had done on her. That's all that came up within that. Where it kind of interplays in my life now was I had quite a bit of health problems that I had to deal with, and from that I had learned quite a bit of natural medicine. Well, as far as intelligence go, I would say I had pretty average intelligence, but whenever I would read on some of the literature as far as natural medicine and healing, I was able to retain a lot of the information and was able to heal some pretty bad diseases, I would say. So and then when I saw that came up in a past life, it just kind of showed how our lives in the past have a correlation of what goes on today, and I guess it kind of goes back to where the Bible talks about where there's not the new under the sun, that what has been will be again, not the new under the sun. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I want to mention this because I didn't know that, because I'm always, I'm channeling during the session. So I did not remember that the physician that you were in that past life name was John. Something very trippy happened, guys. One day we were talking over the phone, and Austin, you were telling me something, and I can't remember what you were saying, but it was something like, I was like, oh, congratulations, right? That would have been the normal response. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Congratulations. And all of a sudden, it's like I went back into the subconscious. I don't know, but I said, that's wonderful, John. That is wonderful.
That's a true story. Yeah.
Yeah. So so it turns out.
And then she caught herself and she's like, who is John? And, and I'm like, well, John was a guy from a past life. That's, that you're probably referring to. And then we were able to get into, where she has, dealing with currently today, some, I wouldn't say more malnourishing type issues, that kind of thing, but definitely doesn't have the best relationship with food, per se.
Yeah.
So we kind of found out that they're, possibly had a past life together.
Yeah,
So,
that was pretty cool, and I think we even, I'm like a past life regression geek. So I said, hey, let's go back and find out more information. So we were sitting on the phone and we were kind of just going back and putting ourselves back in that past life or even timeline. And I had awareness that the reason why I was frail, was malnutrition, was I was going through a very, very horrible divorce. And there was some betrayal there. And it was really, truly the betrayal that came up from the divorce. And I don't know how, but it made me really malnutrition. It's like my body just, the emotional state of the betrayal. You could, Dr. John, please tell us.
When you're in a heightened emotional state like that, it puts you in a sympathetic nervous system, which would be fight or flight. So, at that point, when digestion occurs, you would be in a parasympathetic state, which would be rest and digest. So when you're in a heightened state like that, and you're not gonna get the best out of your food. I mean, and then you get stuck. Oftentimes when people are in a heightened state like that, there's trauma that's involved there. So when there's trauma, you're on sympathetic nervous system overload. So that's what it would be.
Yeah, and what was really interesting about it is that, you know, that past life allowed me to actually heal the event of what was happening to me currently, right? Because it's not like I'm sitting down for a past life regression, but through your past life, as John being my doctor that finally healed me from the malnutrition in that life, it actually made me bring back up this energy of betrayal, right? That I had been suffering with, in the year of 2025, as you know, because you've been, kind of on this journey with me. And, it really, really.
The past lives will bring up patterns that you're unaware of, is what it will do. That's how it will benefit you today. It brings up patterns that you're unaware of that, oftentimes we overlook, and we just think it's our normal selves. And then when you realize that it came from a specific event that didn't necessarily even occur in this lifetime, that was the kind of the starting point of it, the trauma of it, that is, passed down within your energetic memory. Now you can kind of look back and now you see the pattern. You're like, oh my God, okay, this is why I'm feeling this way, when you just thought it was just normal. And
right.
So that's, even if you don't believe in past lives, there is value to it, because it will bring up, these patterns that you are dealing with, in within your life. And once you know the specific patterns that are afflicting you, whether it be financially, whether it be with your relationships, or it be with your health, now you can go in. Now from there, that's a starting point where you can go detach the emotions from that event, which will allow you to freely flow and get your sovereignty back. So that's
what it's all about. The sovereignty.
That's what it's all about. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And that past life, through your past life, had really healed me. And so now what I do is I approach everything, because I found a lot of that in my own soul chart. So I feel like when I go through past life regression, or I have past life memories a lot, this is what I'm accessing my soul chart, right? My Akashic records. And so within my own soul chart, this betrayal thing keeps glaring. And the betrayal, like you, had the overgiving. I have the overgiving, but mine's not coming because I lost $4 million. And back in 1920, that would have been a lot of money. Mine's coming because, I don't want this person to betray me. So allow me to just say yes, 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 And so,
the fear of betrayal.
Fear of betrayal. And what I'm working on more and more is I talk about the sovereignty codes. And I love that you mentioned that, because when you're standing in your sovereignty codes, and what that means is, when I talk about codes, we're literally talking about everything that makes you you. It is your essence. It's your DNA, mother's DNA, father's, your own past life, Akashic stores, even things and memories on a cellular level. That's all of your codes. And then obviously your source codes from God, And so standing in that, understanding that all of this shows up to the experience, right? Not part of it. There's not part of me hiding in a corner somewhere. No, I'm bringing all of this. It allows me to stand in my sovereignty. And I think that if we all approach that no, there's all of me in this experience. all of my past life, all of the things that maybe I didn't get right, or maybe I should have done a little better, but those lessons are coming with me, right? And I think that it makes a very powerful shift if we take that stance and stand in our sovereignty codes. It can make and bring a powerful shift that can literally shift you into your higher timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Austin, last thing I want to talk about is kind of telepathy, because it was something that came up on the journey, that that this has been like over a year in the making. So as you went from the past life, just being open and vulnerable to experience, right, and to heal, and then, accessing that lifetime as a doctor, I think that was very profound because it brought a lot of your natural healing codes online. Like, I call him up and like, yeah, this is what's going on. And he's like, I have a homeopathic remedy for you. He's like, this is what you need to take. I said, doctor, wait, just text me. Like, I can't remember all of this. So also too, that is you're accessing that whole timeline of John, right?
Yeah.
And I got to access that timeline as, what was her name? Mary.
Yeah.
And that gave me the confidence this year to, because I truly hadn't did a fast all year. It wasn't just until a few weeks ago when I did my 14-day water fast. And now we have the juice fast coming up as a group. But I just stopped fasting because I said, you know what? Mary was so malnutrition in that life. Maybe she was I don't know. Maybe she was starving herself to be skinny, to get her husband back that obviously left her. I was like, I'm just going to allow this reverse diet. I'm going to fuel my body. I'm just going to be within this space, and it really broke that fear of like being perfect, right? No one can betray me if I don't betray myself.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so your soul being that mirror reflected that back to me. And I was able to, find this comfort that I don't think I've ever had. And what I'm truly doing is I'm healing Mary, Obviously my problem is like opposite. Obviously she was very, very frail and I'm not, but it's the same core issue of not wanting the betrayal. But as long as I don't betray myself, as long as I bring all of me, then I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to be a reflection of how I want someone to treat me, how I want someone to love me, and how I want, friendships, to treat me. And thank you so much for that. I really,
well, thank you for what you've done for me. Yeah.
I appreciate the healing. But then we kind of like, I think that was the first day that I understood like that you're not just a client. Like, no, you are a healer. Like at the core of you is a healer in there, and a quantum healer. And so much about natural medicine. And then we started to like, kind of just by talking, right? I was activating your codes, right? And so you started to have these telepathic things happen, and you started to get some source codes as well. I don't know if you can speak to any of that.
It was, and I don't really remember the
It was a lot.
There was, throughout the conversations of it, there was, I'm trying to think of it.
Yeah, there's just so many that is, it's hard to pinpoint it, but I guess I can sum it up for you. Like, this is how, it's like a Band-Aid, right? Not a Band-Aid.
I tell you what, we'll go through, the 5 levels of healing, and, so, within the 5 levels of healing, you have your physical body. Within the physical body, that's where, the physical body would be where, issues arise within the physical body in and of itself. Okay. And from there, the modalities for that would be obviously drugs, pharmaceutical drugs from the pharmacy, which doesn't typically solve problems, but they can sometimes be a great Band-Aid, They can be life-saving in some cases as well. You have herbs, you have chiropractic, you have physical therapy. I would say even put like weightlifting in there, that kind of thing. Massage therapy. Then you have the electrical body, which would be your meridians, and then you have your like Tai Chi, Qigong, etc. in that field, where it, gets the, basically removes the blocks in the meridian field. Okay. Now you have your mental body, and that's where homeopathy kind of plays in that, and it plays in that often. It plays in that because it works on the emotional body a lot, and it works on which will go in and have an effect on the physical body, in based on the principles of likes cures likes. And then you also have emotional freedom technique, and a lot of these modalities, will correlate from one aspect of the healing to all the way down, to another aspect. And oftentimes, the higher you go from top, from spiritual to intuitive to mental body, it can never, it can never go up, but it can definitely go down. So, if that makes sense. And then you have the intuitive body, where, believe it or not, you have what's called family constellations therapy. And, this is where, on top of, this would be the family soul and how that works. Where everybody has the right to belong, and this wouldn't just be with family. This could be, a friendship group. It could also be in a business setting, etc. Where there's conflict within these certain, groups, and where energetically, if you could energetically recognize the belonging of another who has been, I would say, not recognized, who has not been fairly recognized as a part of the group, or treated as if he's a part of the group, you're going to have conflict there. You're going to have a stress, I would say, within, that group. And that's oftentimes where you get toxic work relationships, toxic family relationships, etc. And then also in the intuitive area is where you have past lives that we've been talking about. And then, the spiritual aspects of healing would be your relationship with God. So, and whatever
Awesome.
it looks like to you. So hopefully, and then, going back to the mental body, I didn't really necessarily explain that. That's where psychotherapy would also, fall into place there, talk therapy, other energy medicine modalities, where you're addressing the subconscious, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
Psyche would be a good one there as well. So
awesome. And I think we did a lot of that. And I think that was what made your transformation so profound, because we did a lot of work in the mental plane, which is, I think, where the telepathy kind of came in, where we were having, like, how I come on here and I do the source codes and all these synchronicities. Well, that started to happen, right? And I've activated other friends before, because we are we are in the energy field, right? So when you enter into each other's energy field, you have this, energetic cord. That's why it's important to have the right people in your field, because you're sharing, information psychically,
And then, so just so you guys know, Tahira is doing a workshop, where a workshop in regards to fasting, and within that workshop, she's going to also be offering, when we're talking about detaching from events, she's going to show you guys how to do that in that specific workshop, using it'd be brain heart coherence, among emotional freedom technique, and whole brain state, which will allow you to open up your subconscious mind. So
Awesome.
it would be a good investment. You guys would definitely get a lot of benefit out of that. So
Thank you so much. I'll be doing group past life regression within that as well. And guys, that starts on January 3rd. So there's a link down below to sign up. And, next year is the year of the one. So we want to get all of that goo out. Like, this is our new beginning, our new energy field. And you better make sure that you're around same like people, because we are all interconnected, right? And so be sure who you are interconnected to is actually going to be fuel for you and spiritual sustenance for you. So you can enroll with that. And guys, if you want a past life regression, it is the most healing. So I do have it discounted into the end of the year. It's like $200 or $300 off, something like that. And the link is down below. It's a quantum telepathic hypnosis, which is my own form of quantum, healing hypnosis, because I have this ability, this telepathy, and the ability to see kind of what's happening within the experience. It is supernatural. This is the only way that I can describe it, but it leads for deeper connectivity, deeper healing. It is like so expansive. It will expand your soul, and it will give you direction. So if you've been struggling with direction, the past life regression, quantum healing is for direction. And then you can find out the event. Once you find the event out that has literally caused your life to be, maybe the way you don't currently want it, once you find out what the event is, where it came from, then this is the information that you need to plug into your new formula and your new plan to truly, truly go to your highest and best timeline. So we reach back to move forward. That's how we do it. Thank you so much, Austin. This has been amazing. Thanks for being here. And I know that you have to, you're welcome. I know you have to leave. I'm going to stick around for questions, but I'm going to see if there's any.
I guess, does anybody have any questions for me?
Yeah. If there's any questions for Austin right now, that would be great. I'm just hearing the comments really quickly. So Tamara said,
any
sorry,
questions,
go ahead.
crypto, or any healing thing, or
Yep.
I'm here.
So if you have any crypto questions or healing or anything, you can just put them in the comments. And, even if you guys are watching the replay, you can put it down in the comments and I will relay this back to him. And so Tammy says, hey girl, my regressions were life-changing. Hi, Tammy. Yeah, we worked together in the Ascension program last year. This year and next will be wild spiritually for the ones who see and hear a lot of shadow work. Beautiful. So, okay, I think that's it.
All right.
And Austin, any just a last message to kind of sum this up, and I'll let you go.
Okay, so in this time frame that we're currently going through at this moment, we're seeing silver go absolutely through the roof. With that, we have 4 big banks: BNB, BNY Mellon. You have JP Morgan, Chase, Wells Fargo. The reason why silver is going through the roof at the moment is because you have over there in China, they're using silver as for to create chips, computer chips, etc., or AI chips specifically, batteries, that sort of thing. Okay. With that, these 4 banks have created paper contracts, derivatives, basically selling silver on a basis of, for every ounce of silver, they're selling 10 ounces of silver. So it ain't there. So what is specifically happening at this moment is they're not able to manipulate the markets anymore. Silver's out of control. The government is $37 trillion in debt, around that number at this time. And so basically we're transitioning into a new financial system. And I don't know how that transitions, what that's going to look like, but there's specific cryptocurrencies that are going to be the rails of the new financial system. And I would say that silver is more than likely the black swan event that is going to transition this and, transition us into this new digital age of finance. And so it would be, not a financial advisor or anything, but you might want to look at, some of these cryptos. You have, and how that's going to look like. You're going to have, you got your public blockchains that are going to be used for transparency, but these banks are also going to use private ledgers. And then you're going to have an intermediary, which is going to be Chainlink is the intermediary. Canton is the private ledger that they're going to use. And then you're going to have XRP for, liquidity.
Can you
XLM
repeat that? Repeat that. You said Chainlink. What was the next one?
Chainlink is the intermediary for private to public. You're going to have the private is Canton network. That would be CC. And okay. All the big banks are using that. That's what they're going to use, for their private. That we won't have access to, but we'll have access to the public, which would be, that's going to be like Solana. That's going to be Ethereum, XRP, XLM, etc. They're all public like blockchains. Okay, so and then you're going to have within the banking sphere of it, you're going to have XRP, which is going to solve the liquidity crisis. No more no Nostro accounts. You're going to have XLM is going to solve the remittance. XPC is smart contracts. And then you're going to have also you're going to have specific coins that are for RWA, real world assets, for tokenizations, etc. A very good one there is Ondo. All these coins are on sale right now, and you can get your hands on, but you got to be patient with it, because these things go up and down, and don't overinvest. Just, whatever you can, if you want to. Like I said, this is not financial advice, but that's where this is heading. And as far as, any kind of, health, I think we talked about the 5 levels of healing. If you follow that, that would be a good start there. Now, when it comes to healing, if you can address your issues on all 5 levels. And then I'll give you guys, something to look up. It's called the Banerjee protocols, homeopathic Banerjee protocols. I have received a lot of healing from that as well. So, and there's a lady that specifically teaches that, Joette Calabrese. So, and then Dr. Deidre Klinghart's another good one, and Tyra is the only one around that I know of that does past life regressions, and there's obviously a lot of benefit in that as well. So there you have it.
Thank you so very much. This was amazing. We'll talk again, I'm sure. There's so much more to get into and say. But Austin, I want to thank you dearly for being here today. And I'm going to stick around and talk to the chat a little bit. And you just have a wonderful day.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Happy
Bye.
New Year, everyone. Bye.
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 All right, guys, I am popping into the chat. And so when he talks about the 5 levels of healing, so this is the Ascension program that I also do have, where we heal all 5 bodies of consciousness. And the first actual session within that is the quantum telepathic hypnosis session. Honestly, I think it's the biggest thing And the reason why we wanted to talk about this simply because it is the end of the year, and this is going to be the most transformational. I don't care. You can get 1,000,000 readings, right? You can get 1,000,000 Reiki sessions, but there's something about you seeing and knowing for yourself. I want you to see and know for yourself. Don't take my word for it. I want you to experience it. And so I love just being the guide, guiding someone to, guys, you have no idea how it feels for me, because I know it's like a surprise. I don't know where you're going, but I know where you're going is going to be good. I know where you're going is going to answer the question that you came in for the session for. I know where you're going is going to help you go even further in this life. That is what I do know. And this is because this is my connection I have with Source, and my Source is always good. And so when you guys come in for a session, it's very personal to me. You know, it's spiritual. It's part of my own source codes, right? And it's part of my mission here. And I really love that Austin spoke about the past life, or he was my healer. And now because I was able to feel, because in that past life as Mary, I had went to 1,000,000 doctors. I was dying. I was frail. But what I was really dying from was betrayal. And my body shut down, and just the nutrients wasn't getting into my cells anymore. I was dying from betrayal. And so if that could help me now, had such an impact on my soul then, that now in this lifetime, I'm a healer now. And so I am literally giving back what was given to me in that lifetime. And now greater things shall you do. You know, some of you guys are healers. Some of you guys are telepathic. Some of you guys are supernatural, right? And so it's all of this happens. This is when I work with you, your awakening comes online. Some of you guys come, it's in your soul contract for us to meet. Some of you guys have been my own healing. There was another beautiful lady from Austria. Oh my God. And if you guys remember, before the psychic investigation, right? That session, that ascension program, we spent about 6 weeks together, really laid down the foundation for a lot of us expanding into these larger templates, right? Of understanding what was before this construct that is falling down. It was the feminine part of Source. We got to bring the feminine part of God back. That is what fixed the fabric of the reality, is to bring that back. And some of my clients were, able to provide me with the information I need to be a good teacher. And I've been so blessed to have so many different clients from all over the world. I have clients in the UK, which are truly amazing, and have definitely had some very wild past lives. and maybe one day we'll talk about it. I have a client who literally was Noah's wife, and she was dealing with a lot of anger, and the anger actually is what caused the flood. So when I tell you guys we're living on a multi-dimensional spread, two things can be true at the same time. So look how powerful and how energetic you are. If her anger that she couldn't give Noah a first son because she was barren, and that he loved the other wives more than her, if her anger could produce a flood of that magnitude, because it's all multidimensional, then what could the love do? What could us loving authentically, loving everyone the same, what could that do? It can shift timelines and create worlds. And this is why we go back to the event, because I truly believe that when we cross back over to the event, this is what allows us to have the pendulum swing. So as the great flood came, right, that was full of destruction, the pendulum will swing, right, and it will give us a timeline that will allow us to transcend the duality focal point only then when we experience both sides. So we have the flood, and then we have the timeline where, everything is joyous. And then we come back in the middle. And that's how we keep going up a level. So when you guys do your past life regression and you release, because I remove any entities or negative energies you have, and any soul contracts you have that you've outgrown, but the energies are staying around because you're still in the same field. Once we clear that, it's just like this release of energy allowing you to float up. And sometimes you float and sometimes you move back and forth, but you now have the knowledge on how to save yourself. Some people don't even know, how do I do this? Some people have had depression, anxiety, and like a lot of mental anguish. But when you see this for yourself, seeing is believing, when you experience it for yourself, this is what now activates the rest of your Akashic records. And that's why Austin was able to get such a beautiful, result, because he just came in with an open mind and an open heart. And once he tapped into the past life where he was a stockbroker, and we're experiencing almost the 1920 era again, where, things are crashing, everything's unstable. But because he went back to that life, this is how powerful you are. Because he knows that if you just hold your positions, then everything will rise again. But if you panic, it will be worse. Do you know, I truly believe that we had to go back to that lifetime so that he could remember who he was, so that he could hold the vibration to keep the market from crashing. This is what is happening because of how powerful you are. And this is why they like to keep us away from our true selves, and they distract us with a lot of things that really, when we scale it back, is meaningless. Jobs and material things and all of these weird running our energy from point A to point B. We're just running around in a circle. No, they don't want you to be still within yourself, because every single person can recall these memories when you are just in the stillness, right? And when you release the mind chatter. And when you allow yourself to just be. They don't want us to just be, right? Because then their system falls down. And so I say that to say, this is how powerful you are. And in some way, he's keeping the market from crashing all the way. And then also, too, tapping into the past life where he was a healer. I believe that was for me. But also, too, this guy knows, it's like it brought all of his Akashic memories. He can give you a cure to anything. I don't care what you say is going on with you. He has a homeopathic remedy because he's activated. His lifetime is John. All of his records are activated. His lifetime is Alec. All of his records are activated. That's why he knew what to invest in. And I'm not here to get into his portfolio and all of that, but he's very well positioned. He just knew it because he activated his Akashic through that past life. You don't need more answers, and you don't need more anything. All you need is your own records, guys. That's it. All you need is you. It's you waiting on you. That's all that we're doing here. You have everything. It's all within you. It's just waiting for you to experience something in this timeline that per se you don't like as much. That's the inciting incident. And what you're saying within your subconscious is that I am ready to go back and go to the source of this. So when things come up in our lives and they seem so taunting or stressful, no, that's you saying to yourself, to your own records, give me the book. I'm ready to know the source of my pain and anger now. Because in those other 5 lifetimes, I did a very good job at masking it. Now I'm healed enough and ready to see the source. And you catch that, to see the source. These things that we consider to be bad, they allow you to see the source. Because we're all mirror souls. It's what we're doing as humans. We are all here to be mirrors. Because the goal of humanity is to become crystalline in all of our ways. Crystalline soul. That's all we're doing. Because once you become crystalline, crystallized, you literally are like a higher dimensional, like battery, where you now step into God essence. Not the God, but your own sort of God power. And you help to power the ones that need a little bit more. That may still be a younger soul. This is why you can talk to people. You see people and they just, wow, that person just made me feel good. They had really good energy. They're battery. They've already been crystallizing. You literally, it's a walking crystal. They're crystal technology. Your healing becomes crystal technology. That's what happens. So can this break ancestral present curses and heal my family too? Absolutely. So this is what I do in the session. When I'm able to trace it back, I go through all the different templates. First, we experience, the event, what's happening, and then I'll start to look at how long has this curse, or is it a curse, is it a soul tie? Was it witchcraft or was it ancestral? Was it trauma that is appearing like witchcraft? When you heal yourself, because everyone else has your same genetics, it heals them too. But remember, epigenetics tells us, depending on our environment, we can activate certain genes. So it's not only to heal ourselves, but we have to look in our environment and be in an environment that will be copacetic with what it is that we want to experience within our highest and best timeline. So we heal, we fix the codes, and now that ripples. And because you have energetic cords to you and all of your family, that ripples. And believe it or not, that goes to them. And now when you change your environment, that is the icing on the cake. Because we do it internally and outwardly. But we do internally to change our outer world. And so that's why I really love the fast coming up. Because truly it's about the quantum healing that we're going to do. But you're clean inside if your outer world is clean. You're healed inside, your outer world reflects back. That's it. You're only going to get more of what you are. And so absolutely ancestral curses, yes, we can break them. Absolutely. And then you have a starting point. Now you know where more subconscious work needs to be done. And that's the beauty. And I would say, I didn't even know I had this betrayal thing, but I had some massive betrayals over this year. And this is the year of the 9. So naturally, that would happen. But what I really loved is that because I got to view it through a past life, it disconnects the energetic charge where I can just view it, take in the information, and then just go and execute, right? And this is what past lives allow us to do. Sometimes we can view it like a movie. So it's like we are viewing what happened to us. So we're not necessarily connected all the way, but we are seeing it and viewing it in a way where it can be useful, to us. And that's the beauty about it. Thank you guys so very much. I will talk until my battery dies. But I see everyone in the chat. Greetings. Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. And, just giving thanks. So thank you so much, guys. This has been a very, very powerful year. And this is the stuff that I really love to do, love to talk about. And this is, my true essence. And I just wanted to share a little bit of that with you all here because I just feel next year, I just feel it. It's amazing. I can taste it. I can feel it. I know it. And I don't care what shows up, within this dying timeline that we're on. You have to know that. Do not be tricked with these natural eyes. We've left the world behind here. I can feel the energy of the new timeline, and it is beautiful. And so I know that what I'm experiencing is just the die-off of the old timeline. but the feeling that I have, these are these telepathic senses, and you just know that something good is coming. You just know. And this is before faith. See, the faith is one thing, but the knowing through your claircognizant, your knowing is source. Faith is good, allows you to get the mustard seed, but we want to get to the knowing. In order to get to the knowing, you must unleash your spiritual technology. You must open up and heal. And then you get access to all of your codes. And that's what we're doing here, guys. So thank you very much for being here. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'm going to come back with more, quantum healing things, because I'm just feeling good like that. And yeah. And if you want to sign up for the January juice feast, so it's either juice fasting, water fasting, vegan fasting, fasting from alcohol, vaping, cigarettes, whatever you want to do. We're going to meet once a week. We're going to do some group quantum healing things, group past life regression, brain and heart coherence, some guided meditations. I'm going to channel some messages. We're going to do some energy healing. So we're just going to free flow it like that. And source is always the third person in a session. So if you come in with a session with me, source is there. Source is in every session. And some of you even got to be healed by source, by the Christ. It's been beautiful. And I've just been watching this like, wow. And I've just been obedient to allow this unfolding. And it's been very, very beautiful. And I'm so excited to see what the next vibration will lead us into. And so there's that link down below, or you can book your own personal quantum telepathic hypnosis session. And if you have any ancestral curses, any dense energies, any entities, attachments, grays, reptilians, anything, that will all be addressed in that session. We will release all of that. And the beauty is, I actually talk to those things while you're under hypnosis. So we're able to know how long it has been attached. Where did it originate from? A lot of the times it didn't come from this lifetime. And sometimes it's like ancestral contracts that these beings have had. And so it's just a stronghold, right? So we find out more information. When we arm ourselves with information, that's our power. See, because the entities, they thrive when you don't know anything. They thrive in the dark. But when you shed light, which is your innate awareness, one of your spiritual tools in your spiritual toolbox, when we shine that, then they start to scatter. And you can feel them move around. You will feel, if you have an attachment, they'll start to move once you shine light, once you ask questions, right? And then we will release them and allow them to go on their journey. Some of them I have to get the smackdown on. I'm just saying, it's good to, smack down on a few entities from now and then. But nevertheless, source is there every step of the way. You love this. I love this too. I love you guys. I just love all of it. I'm so grateful for Austin coming here, because it's crazy. He recalls all his information, and now he's using both of those lifetimes that he learned in those lifetimes. He's using it in this lifetime, and it's just like, what? And the transformation has been very, very quick, in less than a year. So it's like, it's all possible. It really is, when you lean into it and when you approach it with an open heart and an imagination. Okay. I love you guys so very much. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Links are down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. I love you. I love you. I love you. And so it is, as we walk together in divine love. Be well, guys. Be well. Bye.